Hi everybody, this is Courtney with Fiber Fox Studios, and today we're going to be doing the butterfly stitch again, but we're going to be transforming this into a shawl or a wrap. We're going to be using foundation ovals, so that is something that's different, which is why I'm doing yet another tutorial on this stitch so that I can show you how you go about converting it. The reason why we're doing foundation ovals, which you can see those right here, they're little ovals. We do that so that we can work from the center of the foundation ovals we create. We're going to work out to the right, we can work out to the left, and that creates a wrap or shawl that when you have it draped around your shoulders, your butterflies are going to be pointing in the correct direction for a butterfly. So when you're wearing it, you're not going to have like a continual, everything's going in the same direction. You're going to end up with something that has an interest to it where the butterfly looks like a butterfly on each side when it's wrapped around you. And we're also going to be doing this edging here in this tutorial. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I recommend, and I used specifically, I used the Mandala size 3 yarn. If you are going to be substituting with the size 4 medium weight yarn like a Red Heart yarn or one of the many others that are available on the market, a traditional size 4, you're going to do just 4 less foundation ovals, and I will put that information down below in the description as well as on screen. So if you're following along with me doing a size 3 yarn like Mandala, you're going to start out with 21 foundation ovals. The foundation ovals are done in a multiple of 4 foundation ovals plus 1. So if you're wanting to change this, use a bulky yarn or even use a finer weight yarn, you can do that by just simply doing the multiples of 4 foundation ovals plus 1 at the end, and that will give you the correct count no matter which size yarn you're choosing to use. So for mine, I'm going to start with 21 foundation ovals. We're going to jump into showing you how to do the foundation ovals. If you are doing a size 4, you are going to do 17 foundation ovals. That's including the plus 1 at the end, both of my counts. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and you can go ahead and grab your yarn and grab your hook. If you're doing a size 4, you are going to use a 5mm hook. If you are using the size 3 like I am, you're going to use the G hook 4.25mm. And again, like always, that information will be down below in the description, and I will pop info up on the screen for you guys. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, to get started, what we're going to be doing is the slip knot. So I like to do my slip knot by taking the yarn and wrapping it around my fingers. And I have my working yarn right over here in my thumb and in between my thumb and index finger. I have my tail over here. I like to take the working yarn that's in the thumb and index finger and just simply move it over. So all I'm doing is just moving my fingers. I get it in between these 2 fingers. I pinch down and I just pull backwards, and that gives me my slip knot. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with the foundation ovals. If you've never seen those before, I'm going to do it nice and slow for my beginners. So we're going to start by doing a chain 1, and then you're going to go ahead and grab that chain, just pinch it with your thumb. And then we're going to go ahead and chain up 3 more, so 1, 2, and 3, for a total of 4 chains. Now we're going to wrap our yarn twice around our hook, just like so. And we're going to come back down here to that chain that we were pinching, and we're going to insert our hook into that chain, and I like to go under the V entirely. So let's just back up just a little bit. I like to go in there and come out underneath both parts, if you can see right there, so that I'm into the V. Now I'm going to grab my yarn and I'm going to pull up a loop. So I already had it wrapped around twice on my hook. Now I've got all these loops here on the hook. I've got to go ahead and grab and pull through 2. We're going to grab again and pull through 2. And we're going to grab one more time, and we're going to pull through those last 2 loops. Now we're back to 1 loop on the hook, and we've made our first foundation oval right there. So now we're going to chain up 4 again. So I'm going to chain 1, and then if you're not familiar with the foundation ovals, you can go ahead and pinch right there. And now you're going to chain 2, 3, and 4. So I've got my chain 4. I'm going to wrap twice around my hook. I'm going to use my finger just to hold those loops if it's slipping on you. This is kind of slippery yarn for me. I'm going to go down here to this chain that I was actually pinching. I'm going to insert my hook. I'm going to grab my yarn, pull through. Now I'm going to grab my yarn again and pull through 2. Grab my yarn again and pull through 2. Grab again, pull through 2. So we've got our 2 foundation ovals so far. And remember, the foundation ovals are a multiple of 4 foundation ovals plus 1. So we're going to keep going until we've got our desired number of counts. And I will have that up on screen for you, just as I said in the beginning of the video. So we're going to chain up 4 again. I've got 3. And here's 4. And we're going to continue doing foundation ovals on down. So we're going to do it one more time together. I've wrapped my yarn around my hook twice. I'm going to go down here to this very first foundation, or I'm sorry, the very first chain, right above the last foundation oval. So if you forget to pinch and you're looking, trying to figure out where you're going to put your hook, you're going to go right above the foundation oval. So if you stretch out that oval, you can see right there the chain that you need to work in. I think it's pretty clear. So you go just above that oval, just like that. And then you're going to grab your yarn, pulling up a loop, grab again, pull through 2, grab again, pull through 2, grab one last time and pull through 2. So then you're going to continue with a chain 4 and doing that triple crochet all the way down until you have all the loops you need. So you can go ahead and pause the video here and meet back up with me when you have finished doing all your foundation ovals. Alright, so you're meeting back up with me. You should have your foundation ovals finished. And what I wanted to show here is this is the size 3 yarn. And there is a total of, let me pull it up a little bit. I'm just doing a short swatch. So I've got 9 foundation ovals here. And right here is the difference if you're using a size 4 yarn like a Red Heart Super Saver or any of the size 4 medium weight yarns. So I did this so that I could show you guys the difference that it's going to make. It's going to be about, for every repeat that you do of the foundation ovals, which is 4, if you take a look here, this is the 4th one right here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. So if you measure this distance, it is about an inch to an inch and a half depending on your tension in size difference. So if you are doing the size 4 yarn, your piece is going to end up being about an inch, inch and a half longer if you do the exact same counts as what I'm doing, and that includes when we start getting into the butterfly pattern and working out from each side. So I just wanted to show you guys that so you can kind of have a visual on how that size and yarn can really change the piece. So keep that in mind if you are substituting with a size 4, and follow that 17 foundation oval count that I gave for the shawl or wrap. And remember that it's going to increase your size. So even when we are doing our butterflies, your repeats on those, you might want to drop a few repeats off, or you can just have it extra long. It's really up to you. The weight of this will make it stretch a little bit more on the size 4, because as we build out each of the shawls, you are going to see that when it's finished, it will stretch out when you put it on, just by the weight of all that yarn. So kind of keep that in mind. You might want to work a certain number of repeats on the butterfly pattern if you're doing size 4, and then try it on once you get some of each side of the shawl built. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to show you what you do next. And keep in mind your piece is going to be a lot longer than mine. The one thing you want to keep in mind with foundation ovals is you don't want to allow them to twist. So you want to make sure that when you're working, you are paying attention and making sure that they're laying nice and flat, or you're working in the same side on each one as you go down. So we're going to go ahead and get my hook back on here. And the first thing that you are going to do is you are going to chain up 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now that chain 4 is counting as your first double crochet in a chain 1. So now we're going to wrap our yarn and we're going to go ahead and perform a double crochet going right here into this very first foundation oval. So you're going to wrap your yarn around your hook. You're going to go directly into that foundation oval, just right there in the center of it. You're going to grab your yarn and pull up a loop. You're going to grab your yarn again and pull through 2 loops. Grab your yarn again and pull through 2 loops, and that is a double crochet. So now what we're going to do is a chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that chain 4 begins your repeat for this row. So the chain 4 is your repeat. And now what we're going to do is we're going to look down here and make sure we've got our foundation ovals not twisted. And we're going to skip the very next foundation oval right here. And we're going to go over here into the very next one. So in this case, it's the 3rd foundation oval over. So we're going to go right there, skip this one, go right here into this one, and we're just going to work right directly into these foundation ovals, and we're going to go ahead and do another double crochet. Now we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to wrap our yarn and go back into the same foundation oval and do another double crochet. Just like so. And we're going to chain 2 again. And we're going to wrap our yarn and we're going to go back down that same foundation oval. And we're going to do a double crochet. And we're going to do this one last time. So you're going to do this so that you end up with 3 chain 2 spots on this particular foundation oval. So I've got a chain 2 right there. I'm going to go in and do my last double crochet right there into that foundation oval. So I'm going to go right in there and do my last double crochet. And you're going to stop and take a look at your work. And you see you have 4 double crochets and they are separated by chain 2s. And you end up with 3 chain 2 spaces. So now we're going to chain 4 again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to go over here and we are going to skip the very next foundation oval, which is right here. And we're going to come over here to this next one and we're going to do a double crochet, chain 1 double crochet right there into that space. So we're going to go right there into that foundation oval and we're going to do a double crochet. We're going to chain 1. And we're going to come right down in that same exact space and do another double crochet. And that is the end of the repeat for this row. So I'm going to do this together with you one more time. And this is a very, very simple pattern. You're always going to be beginning and ending your rows exactly the same way each and every time. So it's easy to remember and it works up very quickly. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to move forward with our beginning of our next repeat. We're going to chain 4. This is the same thing. We're going to do it one more time together. So we're going to chain 4. And now we're going to move over here. We're going to skip this foundation oval right here. And we're going to go into the very next one and do a double crochet. Now we're going to chain 2. 1 and 2. And I'm going to pull out a little bit more of my yarn. Sorry about that, guys. Bumped that camera real good that time. And we've got our chain 2 right there. We're going to wrap our yarn. And we're going to go into the same foundation oval and do another double crochet. We're going to chain 2 again. 1 and 2. And we're going to wrap our yarn. We're going to go into that same exact foundation oval and do another double crochet. And we're going to chain 2 one more time. This is the very last time. We're going to wrap our yarn and do one more double crochet right there into that foundation oval. So we end up having this right here. This is the framework for our butterfly. Now we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to come over and you're going to be skipping this very next foundation oval and moving over here into the next foundation oval. And for me, this is the end of the row, but for you guys, you're just going to continue on in the same exact manner, and then you're going to meet back up with me when you've completed this at the end. So I've done a double crochet into that foundation oval, the next one, so I have one skip in between. I'm going to chain one, and I'm going to do a double crochet right there into that same foundation oval. So you guys are going to go ahead and pause the video here. I'll have it marked on screen where you can rewind back to the repeat if you need a little bit more help, but you're going to end up with a long row of these guys right here working into every other foundation oval. So you're going to have one skipped in between each and every set, basically. So we're going to end up with this pretty framework, and we're going to go on to our next row, which is row 2, and I'm going to show you how to work the butterflies. So hopefully you guys are meeting back up with me, and we're going to go ahead and start our next row by chaining 4. And just like the first time, that chain 4 counts as our first double crochet, chain 1. So the first 3 stitches are a double crochet, and here's our chain 1 right there at the end. Now we're going to go ahead and turn our work. And now we're going to do another double crochet, but we're going to be skipping over that chain 1 space and working right there into that top of the double crochet from the previous row. Just like that. And as you'll see, it starts forming these little squares or rectangles here on the end. So now what we're going to do is a chain 2, and that is the beginning of our repeat for this pattern and for this row. So we're going to go ahead and chain 2, and then we're going to skip 2 stitches on the chain 4 from the previous row and work into the third. So right here for me, this one is my very first stitch, so I'm going to skip that. I'm going to skip this next one. And here's my third, and that is where I am going to go ahead and go into that third stitch and do a single crochet. So I've got this one chain right here in between where my double crochet chain 2 start, and that's kind of just a visual for you to mark it. Now we're going to wrap our yarn, and we're going to go into this first double crochet right here. And we are going to do a double crochet right there into the top of it. Just like so. And now we're going to do 3 double crochets right here into the chain 2 space. So this is our first one. Here's number 1. Going right there into that chain 2. Here's our second. And here is our third right there into that chain 2 space. So now we're going to go ahead and move on over. We're going to go right here. So this is where we're at on the pattern. We're going to go into this very next double crochet and work a double crochet right there into the top of it. Now we're going to go ahead. We're here at the peak. We're at the center of that framework. We're going to do a double crochet right there into that chain 2 space. And we're going to chain 2, 1 and 2. And we're going to do a double crochet right back into that same chain 2 space. It's going right back into that. And this is what you're going to have so far. You've got half of your butterfly done. So now we're going to start working down the other side. So we're right here in the center, and we're going to do a double crochet right here into the top of this double crochet from the previous row. Now we're at our last chain 2 space in this section, and we're going to work 3 double crochets right there into that chain 2. 1. Here is number 2. Let me pull out some more yarn. And here is number 3. And now we're going to go ahead and do a double crochet right there into that last double crochet in this section. We're going to go right there into the top of it and do a double crochet. And then just like we had over here on this side, we're going to have a skip of 1 chain, which is right here, and we're going to do a single crochet into the very next. Do a single crochet right there, and that's going to leave us 2 chains right here from the previous row, and we're going to skip those. We're going to do a double crochet, or I'm sorry, we're going to do a chain 2, And then we're going to do a double crochet right here into this double crochet from the previous row. And then we are going to chain 1, and we're going to do a double crochet right here into this next double crochet. So we're always going to be skipping that chain 1 space. And that is the end of the repeat for this row. We're going to do it together one more time, but I wanted to just stop and let you guys have a look at what your work should be looking like. This is your butterfly right here that we formed. It's just upside down when we're working them. When you have it turned over, it's going to look more like a butterfly. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to do it one more time together. We're going to do a chain 2, 1 and 2, and we're going to skip 2 stitches on the chain 4 from the previous row. So we're going to skip this very first one right here. We're going to skip this next one, and we're going to go into the third with a single crochet. Just like that. And that's going to leave us a chain space right here that we're going to skip. And now we're over here at our framework for our butterflies. So we're going to go ahead and work a double crochet right here into the top of the double crochet from the previous row. And then we're going to do 3 double crochets right here into that chain 2 space. 1, here is 2, and number 3. Now we're going to do a double crochet right here into that double crochet from the previous row. So now we're here at the peak. We're going to go ahead and do a double crochet right here into the chain 2 space. And now we're going to chain 2. And we're going to go ahead back into that same chain 2 space, and we're going to do another double crochet. And now we're going to do a double crochet right here in that double crochet from the previous row. And we're going to do a double crochet, 3 of them actually, into this last chain 2 space in that section. So here's my first one. Here is my second. And here is my third. So we're doing 3 into that last chain 2 space. And now we're going to wrap our yarn, and we're going to do our last double crochet right here into the double crochet from the previous row. And now we are at the chain 4 from the previous row, and we're going to skip the very first chain, and we're going to go right there into that second with a single crochet. And now we are going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and we're going to go ahead, and for me, I'm at the end of my row, but you're going to have to finish on down yours, but you're still going to have a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet to work into to end your repeat. So we've got to wrap our yarn, and we're going to go ahead and go into that double crochet right there from the previous row and do a double crochet. And then we're going to chain 1, and you're going to do a double crochet into the next double crochet. If you are pausing the video, you're going to meet back up with me, and we're going to be counting up from the bottom because this is a chain 4 that we began that previous row with. So we're going to count up 1, 2, and 3, and we're going to work our double crochet, the very last one in the row, into the top of the chain 3, leaving our chain 1 space, just like so. And you're going to go ahead and pause. I'll have it marked on screen in case you need to rewind the video back to the beginning of the repeat. But you're going to work the rest of your row out, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how you set up your framework. And then from there, it's just a matter of flipping over after you've done all of your rows. This is a 2-row repeat for the butterfly pattern. So you're going to do the total number of rows that you want for the length, the total length of your shawl or wrap, whichever way you want to refer to it as. So you're going to finish out, and I will put on screen the counts of how many rows that I did, how many repeats it was, and how many total rows. And then you will be able to repeat the same over on the other side. And I'm going to show you guys how you go about working into the other side, just the first row because it's going to be exactly the same thing that you've done on this side. So you're going to go ahead and pause, finish out your row, and then we'll meet back up and I'll show you how you set up your next, what is going to be the row 1, row 2 repeat from this point on. And if you're here with me, you are back, and we're going to start out just like we do every time. We're going to chain 4 to begin our row. The chain 4 is the first 3 chains, counts as our double crochet, chain 1, and then we are going to turn our work, and we're going to go ahead and skip over that chain 1 from the previous row and go right there into the double crochet and work a double crochet. And then we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. The chain 4 is the beginning of your repeat. And we're going to be skipping over here. We're going to skip all 6 of these double crochets that we created. And we're going to go right there in that chain 2 space and do a double crochet. And then we are going to chain 2. And we're going to do a double crochet right back into that chain 2 space. And then we are going to chain 2, and we are going to do another double crochet right there into that same exact chain 2 space. Try not to split your yarn. Chain 2 again one last time, and we're going to go back down in that same chain 2 space, and we are going to do our last double crochet so that we have set up the foundation we need to do the butterflies. Now we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to come over here. We're going to skip over all of these double crochets. We're going to skip over this chain 2. And we're going to go right there to the chain 2 that forms our little boxes or little squares. And we're going to work a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet right into this area. So you're going to go right there into that first double crochet and do a double crochet. You're going to chain 1, and you're going to skip over the chain 1, and you're going to come right here into the next double crochet on the previous row and do a double crochet. And that is going to be the end of your repeat for this row. So you're going to continue on in the same exact manner on down until you finish the entire row, and then you'll be able to rewind the video back and go ahead and do the butterfly section, the row 2 of the repeat, and continue on until you've built out the first side of your shawl. And I'm going to do it with you one more time. 1, 2, 3, and 4 begins my repeat. And I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to go into the chain 2 space at the peak of the butterfly, and I am going to do a double crochet. I'm going to chain 2, 1, and 2. I'm going to go back in and do another double crochet right there into that chain 2 space. I'm going to chain 2. I'm going to go back into that same chain 2 space and do another double crochet. I'm going to chain 2 again, one last time, and go back into that same chain 2 space with another double crochet. Built up my little framework. And now we're going to go ahead and do our chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to come over here, and we're going to do a skip over all of those stitches, skip over the chain 2, and come into the double crochet and do a double crochet. We're going to chain 1. And we're going to do a double crochet into the next. If you're at the end of your row, you're just simply going to count up from the bottom of these chains. 1, 2, and 3. And you're going to work into the top of that 3rd stitch. And that will finish this out. So you're going to continue on. You can rewind if you need help doing the rest of your butterflies. Once you have done the recommended number of repeats on the butterflies, you will then just flip over and you will work directly into the other side of these foundation ovals, which I'm about to do that with you in just a moment. So if you need help with that, I'm about to provide that help in the very next little row. We're going to go ahead and move on to that. So otherwise, you want to pause, work the rest of your butterfly repeats out, and then come back to see how you go about working into the other side. All right, welcome back. So here we have my swatch worked up in a number of rows so that I can show you guys how the rest of your shawl begins and how you're going to work the other side of the shawl, I should say. So what you're going to do is you have worked down the suggested number of rows, the total number of repeats on one side of your shawl, and then you are going to flip it over at this point so that your butterflies are facing in the correct direction. And here are your foundation ovals again. So we're going to be going back into these foundation ovals and working into them just in the exact same manner that we did the first time around when we did this other side over here. So we're going to work into those. You'll continue to work the same exact number of repeats or total number of rows, whichever way you want to look at it. You're going to work the same number over here on this side going in this direction. So it's really important for the design of this particular shawl that you work in this manner. So we're going to go ahead and get started. You're going to have to reattach some yarn. So I have a slip knot here on my hook, or a slip knot already made. So I'm going to go ahead and you make your slip knot, and I'm going to go ahead and pick up my piece over here on the corner. This is my right side in this case. And I'm just going to insert my hook into this first foundation oval, just like so. And then I'm going to attach the slip knot onto my hook. And you can go ahead and tighten that down. And you're going to grab that slip knot and you're going to bring it through the foundation oval, just like that. And not all the way through, because you're going to go ahead and grab your yarn. And I like to work in my tail too. And grab it and pull through the slip knot just to lock that in place. And then you can go ahead and let your tail fall, because you'll be weaving that in at the end and binding it off. Now you're going to go ahead and chain up 3 more times. So here, this one is counting as our first chain. Now we're going to chain 1, 2, and 3 for a total of 4 chains. And you're going to wrap your yarn. That chain 4 is counting as your first double crochet with a chain 1. So we're going to go ahead and wrap our yarn, and we're going to go back down into that same exact foundation oval, just like so, and we're going to go ahead and do a double crochet. Now you're going to chain 4, and the chain 4 is the beginning of the repeat. You should be very familiar with this pattern by this point. So I'm not going to mark it on screen or do anything extra. You're going to chain 4, and you're going to skip the very next foundation oval right here. And you're going to move over here into this foundation oval. And if you take a look, you worked it on the other side. So you're just going to go ahead and do the same thing on this side. So you're going to do a double crochet, just like so. Chain 2, 1 and 2. And then you're going to go back down to that same foundation oval, and you're going to do a double crochet. And then you're going to chain 2, 1 and 2. And you're going to go back down into that same exact foundation oval and do another double crochet. 1 and 2, pull through. And so you're going to chain 2 one more time. And you're going to go back down into that same exact foundation oval and do your last double crochet for that little section. And you're going to end with something that looks like this, which is exactly adjacent to this other butterfly that you worked on the previous side. Now we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. You are going to skip the next foundation oval just like you did before, and you're going to come over here to this foundation oval, and you're going to work a double crochet, chain 1 double crochet right there into that oval. Chain 1, and then another double crochet right there into that same exact foundation oval. And that's the end of the repeat for this row. So you can see, if you take a look, you're just working on the opposite side, doing the exact same thing. So I'm going to do this together with you one more time. We're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now we're going to skip the next foundation oval just like we did before. And we're going to come over here to this one that we've worked into on the other side. And we're going to go ahead and set up and do a double crochet, chain 2, double crochet right there into that same exact foundation oval, chain 2. We're going to go back into the same one and do another double crochet, and then we're going to chain 2 for our very last one and go back into that same exact one for the last time with a double crochet. So if you take a look at your work, you're just spreading it out and working on the other side, the exact same foundation ovals. I'm going to chain 4. You're going to skip the next foundation oval just like we did before, and you're going to come into the last and you're going to work, or into the next for most of you, and you're going to work a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet right there into the same exact foundation oval. And you're going to continue on down your row doing your new, or doing your row 1, 2 row repeat for this. You're just going to work just like you did here on the other side, doing that same thing on this side for the desired number of rows, or the recommended number of rows, for the total repeat, so that you have a complete shawl. And when you are finished with that, you're going to come back and meet up with me, and I'm going to show you how to put on the border. You will sew in your ends and be done. This project does work up fairly quickly, and you're going to be really happy with the result. It's extremely warm. So please go ahead, finish working out the rest of your rows on the next side, opposite side of your shawl, and then come back and meet up with me so that we can add the border. Alright, so in this portion of the video, we're going to go ahead and do the border for your shawl. And what we're going to be doing is a 5-row border. So it's just simply 5 rows. You're going to do the same thing per row all the way down and all the way around. And then once you get to the end of that row, you will begin the next row. You will do a total of 5, and then you will be done. This is just one of the border options that you could do on this. This is the one that I'm teaching and suggesting, but you of course can choose a completely different border for your shawl and put that on. So I'm going to show you how. Right now we're in the corner on this. I'm going to show you how we're going to go about doing the border all the way around. This is going to be a fairly brief part of the video because it's just 5 rows. So I mean, you're going to do the same thing all the way down. This is the other side where we have the squares in your shawl. So this is going to be the right side, and this right here is the ends. You're going to have 2 of these that are going to, where you're going to work into the ends of the butterfly. So the last row of butterflies is how you're going to work this side right here. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So you're going to grab your hook, same hook that you've been using for your project, and the same yarn, or you can add on a different yarn if you want a contrasting border. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So what you're going to do is identify your corner of your project. So right here, I am recommending that you start here on the side where we have all the little squares, and you want to go over from your butterfly and find the corner. And to identify the corner, in this case I'm working on a chain 4 area, so I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to go into that third, which is exactly the corner of this piece. So you'll have a chain, and then you'll go back into your double crochet right here on this side. So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and attach your yarn if you'd already cut, and you're going to do that by creating a little slip knot, and you're going to slip it onto your hook, and you can kind of tighten that down a little bit by pulling the 2 sides, and you're going to go ahead and just pull that through, but not all the way, because you want to go ahead and grab your yarn and pull through and do a chain. Oops, slipped off. And that's just basically to lock that in place. Then you can go ahead and let your tail fall so that you can sew that in later and bind off. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to chain. We've got 1 chain right there right now. So we're going to go ahead and chain 6 more times for a total of 7 chains. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So what that chain 7 is counting as is the first 3 chains are a double crochet, and then the next 4 is your chain 4 space, and that'll make sense in just when we get around there to the other corner. So you're going to go ahead and wrap your yarn around your hook, because you're going to go back into that same exact stitch and do a double crochet right there in that corner. So hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing there. So we're going to go ahead and do a double crochet. So you're going to wrap your yarn around your hook and pull up a loop. Grab your yarn and pull through 2. Grab your yarn and pull through 2. So we've made that little spot right there. This is going to be our corner. Now we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to go right here into this next square, and we're going to work a 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets right there in that spot. So you're always going to be on your corners moving in right here to that very next square when you're doing this side. So you're going to go in and do 2 double crochets. There's 1, here's 2. Now we're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and we're going to go back down in that same exact spot, and we're going to work around that chain on the side there and do 2 more double crochets. There's 1, and here's 2. So that is what you have at this point. So now we're going to chain 4 again. And this is going to begin your repeat for this row. You're going to be doing the same thing all the way down the side on around. So we've got a chain 4. Now you're going to take a look at your work. And in most cases, you guys are going to see that you've got, when you're starting where I'm starting, you're going to see that you've got these 2 little chain spots. They look like the little squares. And what we're going to do is we're going to skip over 2 of those and go into this 3rd one over here. So we're going to be doing a double crochet, chain 4, double crochet all into this space. So I'm skipping and going here into the 3rd, and I'm doing a double crochet. You're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then you're going to go back down into that same exact space, and you're going to do another double crochet right there in that same space. Now you're going to chain 4 again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you're going to go down here again. You're going to skip over 2 of these little spaces here on the side, and you're going to go into this 3rd, and you're going to do 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets, all into that same space. So there's my first double crochet. Here's my second double crochet. I'm going to chain 2. I'm going to go back down that same exact space, and I'm going to do 2 more double crochets. So here's number 1, number 2. And that's the end of the repeat for the side. So you're going to do the same exact thing all the way down the rest of your project. I'm going to work on down with you in this video and get to the other corner. And then I'm going to show you how you work into the butterflies to do the same exact row. So this is all going to be the same row 1 of the border. And I'm just going to show you real briefly how you work those butterfly sections so that you can finish out and go around all 4 sides of your shawl. So you can stay tuned with me, or you can pause and work on down. It'll only take me a few moments to go on down since I'm working on a very small swatch. So I'm going to chain 4 again. That's the beginning of the repeat for the row. I'm going to skip the next 2 little spaces here, little squares on the side, and I'm going to go into the 3rd, and I'm going to do a double crochet, chain 4, double crochet all into that spot. So there's my double crochet. Now I'm going to chain 4, 3, and 4, and I'm going to go back into that same space right here, into the same space, and do another double crochet. It's a very easy border, and it's very easy to remember. And you can also go ahead and, if you have to do a little differentiation of this to fit your project that you're putting this border on, you can skip one space instead of two. You just want to end up with your corners looking exactly the same so it works out and you have a nice clean corner. So we're going to continue on down. I'm going to chain 4 again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now we're going to skip 2, and I'm going to do 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets into the third little space, square here on the side. There's my first double crochet. Now I'm doing a second double crochet. We're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, go back down into the same exact space and do 2 more double crochets. Just like so. Now I'm going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's the beginning of the repeat. I'm going to skip 2 and go into the third and do a double crochet, chain 4, double crochet, all into that third little space. There's my first double crochet. Here is my second. Gonna chain 2, 3, doing 1 double crochet, chain 4, 1 double crochet, all into the same space. 3 and 4. So I'm chaining 4. Now I'm going to go back in and I'm going to do a double crochet. So you're just alternating between those two things all the way down. Now I'm going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now I've met up with this corner over here. So here is what we're going to do is at this point is we can't skip 2 because this is our corner. So just like we had over on the first corner, we're going to go into this space right here. So we're going right in there and we're doing 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets, all into that space. So we're going to work that, and each of your corners is going to be done exactly the same. So there's my 2 double crochets. Now I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm going to go back down into that same exact space, and I'm going to do 2 double crochets. And we kind of have to build up this corner. That's why it's a little bit closer than what you would see in the other borders, or the rest of the project. I mean, you're going to have to kind of build up those corners so that you keep a nice clean corner. So now I've got to identify the corner of this little section right here, and this is also another chain 4. So just like we did the first time, we're going to go ahead and chain 4, and then we are going to count up 1, 2, and 3 and go into that third stitch. So that's the true corner of this piece. So we're going to go in there. We're going to do a double crochet into that. So we're going to go in and do a double crochet. And now we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to go back into that same exact stitch and we're going to do another double crochet, just like we did when we started at the other end on that corner. So that is what you have there. Now we're going to chain 4 again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now we're going to be doing just like we did over here on this side. We're going to go right here into this very first space, and we're going to do a double crochet, or 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets right there into that corner. There's 2. Now we're going to chain 2, and we're going to go back in and do 2 more double crochets right there into that space. Now we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're at the butterfly section. So what we're going to be doing here at the butterfly section is we are going to be, each one of those you're going to end up working out with a double crochet, chain 4, double crochet right there into the peak of the butterfly. So we're skipping over all of this and coming right here to the peak. And we're going to do a double crochet, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to go back down into that same exact space, and we're going to do another double crochet. Now we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're still doing the same thing that we've been doing all along this side. We're just working into the butterflies now. So we've got this chain 4 here, and we're going to be skipping over all of these stitches, skipping over this chain space and going right here into those squares again. So just like we were doing on the side, we're going to come in here and we're going to do 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets, all right here into the square. So that's my first double crochet. Now I'm going to do a second. Now we're going to chain 2, go back here into that same exact space, and we're going to do 2 more double crochets. And you're going to handle the entire side on both ends of the butterflies the exact same way. You're going to have your double crochet, chain 4 double crochet in the peak of the butterfly. You're going to chain 4 in between just like you were doing down the side, and you're going to do your 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets into the squares that are in the center of those butterflies each and every time. So it's going to end up looking just like this. Let me pull it down a little bit so you can see. So you're going to continue to work in the same exact way all the way down. You're going to handle your corners the same way each and every time. You're going to handle those the same exact way. And you can rewind the video if you need help with the corner, but you're going to continue to work on down, and then you're going to meet up with me when we go to do row 2, and I'll show you how you join and then begin your row 2. So now you're meeting back up with me, and you have approached your last corner, the first corner that you started in. So you're approaching here. You've got a chain 4 on your hook, and you've just come off. In most cases, you're going to be just coming off the butterflies. So you've got your double crochet, chain 4, double crochet in the peak of the butterfly. You're going to chain 4, and then just like we did when I showed you how to handle the corners, we're going to come over here. And if you look, we're right here in the square section at the very edge of your project. We're going to go in there and we're going to do our double crochets, 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets right there into that space. So we're right here at this corner. So we're going to do 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets. Oops. Kind of have to squish that chain work that you have over. Get it out of your way. So you're working right there in that same space just like you did with all the other corners. And now we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you are here at this chain 7 that you did to start, and you're going to count up from the bottom, 1, 2, and 3, and you're going to go into that third stitch, and that's going to leave you a chain 4 right here. So you're going to go into that third stitch, and you're just going to insert your hook and do a slip stitch to connect it. And now we're going to go ahead and we are going to slip stitch over here into this chain 4 space. So to do that, you're going to insert your hook without grabbing anything. You're going to insert your hook. You're going to grab your yarn and just pull up a loop, and you're going to go ahead and pull through the loop that's on your hook. Just like so. So now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to be working into this corner space doing double crochets. So you're going to be doing a double crochet cluster separated by chain 3s, and this one is kind of a modified version. So you're gonna got that chain 3 on your hook, you're gonna wrap your yarn around your hook, and we're right here in your corner. So we're going to insert our hook into that chain 4 space, just working around it. Grab yarn and pull up a loop. You're gonna grab your yarn again and pull through 2, grab your yarn again and pull through 2. So we're going to do this so that we end up, we're going to do it 4 more times. We're going to end up with a total of 5 of these in this corner. 1, 2, and 3. You're going to chain 3. Now we're going to wrap our yarn. We're going to go back down into the same exact space, and we're going to pull up a loop. We're going to grab our yarn and pull through 2, and we're going to hold it. So we've got 2 loops on our hook. We're going to wrap our yarn again. We're going to go back down in that same exact space, grab our yarn and pull up a loop. We're going to grab our yarn and pull through 2, and we're going to hold it right there. We've got 3 loops on our hook. We're going to go ahead and grab our yarn, turn your hook downward facing your project. So you usually are working like this. You're going to turn it like this so it's facing those stitches below, and you're going to pull through all 3 loops on your hook. So now we've completed that little double crochet cluster. We've got our second one. We're going to go ahead and chain 3 again. And we're going to do it again here into the same exact space right here below. We're going to grab our yarn and pull up a loop. Grab our yarn and pull through 2, and we're going to hold it. We've got 2 loops on our hook. Going to wrap your yarn around your hook again, going back down in the same exact space. We're going to go in there. We're going to grab our yarn, pull up a loop. We're going to grab our yarn and pull through 2, and we're going to hold it with 3 loops on our hook. So we're going to go ahead and grab our yarn, turn your hook down towards your project, and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. So that's our third double crochet cluster. And remember, we need 5. So we're going to go ahead and chain 3 again. And we're going to do the same thing again here into the same exact space. We're going to wrap our yarn around our hook. We're going to go down here, pull up a loop. We're going to grab and pull through 2, and we're going to hold it. We've got 2 loops on our hook. We're going to wrap our yarn around our hook again. We're going to go down here into this space again. We're going to pull up a loop. We're going to pull through 2, and we're going to hold it. We've got 3 loops on our hook, so we're going to go ahead and grab our yarn and pull through all 3 loops. And that's how you're going to be doing this. We're going to do it one more time. All right, so we're going to go one more time in there. We're going to go ahead and chain 3. And we're going to wrap our yarn around our hook. We're going to go back down in the same exact space that we've been working in. You can kind of scoot your stitches over if you need to. You're going to grab your yarn and pull up a loop. We're going to grab our yarn and pull through 2, and then we're going to hold it. We're going to wrap our yarn again. We're going to go back down in that same exact space, pulling up a loop. We're going to pull through 2, and we are going to hold it. We're going to grab our yarn, and we're going to pull through all 3 loops on our hook. So we end up with our corner fanning out and looking like this. Now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And this is going to be the repeat for the rest of this row. You're going to handle each corner exactly the same, and you're going to be able to work all the way around in the same exact manner. So you're going to be working these little cluster stitches into your chain 4 spaces that you created right here. And you're going to be doing the same exact stitch right here into all of these all the way around. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. So right here, we're still at our corner, and we're going to be going into this stitch next. So we've got a chain 3 on our hook now. We're going to wrap our yarn, and we're going to go right here into this space in between the chain 2, in between the 2 double crochets that are here on this row. So we're going to go in there, and we're going to do 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets right there into that space. So the same exact thing, we're just going to create it again right on top of it, working into that chain 2 space. So we're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and we're going to come back down in here. We're going to go into that space. We're going to pull up our loop, pull through 2 to do our double crochet, go back in again and do another double crochet, and then we're going to chain 3. So you're going to separate this time by a chain 3 each and every time. Now we're over here again at one of the chain 4 loops with the double crochet, chain 4, double crochet. So we're going to skip over into that, and we're going to do the 5 double crochet clusters. So I'm going right around that stitch. I'm going to pull through 2, and I'm going to hold it with 2 loops on my hook. I'm going to wrap my yarn again. I'm going to go back into that same exact space, pulling up a loop. I'm going to pull through 2, and I'm going to hold it with 3 loops on my hook. I'm going to grab my yarn and pull through all 3 loops. Now I'm going to chain 3 to separate that, 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to repeat this 4 more times. So I end up with a total of 5 of these double crochet clusters in the space. So there's half of it done right there. I'm going to go back in again, pulling up a loop. I'm going to pull through 2. Got 3 loops on my hook, so I'm going to grab my yarn and make sure my hook is turned down and pull through all 3 loops. I'm going to chain 3 again, 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to come back down again into the same space, and I'm going to do the same thing again. So I've got my yarn wrapped around my hook, and I'm going to go back down here into the space and pull up a loop. I'm going to pull through 2, and I'm going to hold it. I'm going to wrap my yarn again. I'm going to insert here into the same exact space, pulling up a loop. I'm going to pull through 2, and I'm going to hold it with 3 loops on my hook. And then I'm going to grab my yarn and pull through all 3 loops. So I've got my 3rd one done. So now I'm going to do my 4th. I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to wrap my yarn, go back down into the same exact space, pulling up a loop. I'm going to pull through 2. I'm going to hold it, 2 loops on my hook. Wrap my yarn again, insert into that space, pulling up a loop, pulling through 2. I'm going to hold it, 3 loops on my hook, so I'm going to go ahead and pull through all 3 loops. Now I'm going to chain 3 again, 1, 2, and 3, and I'm going to do my 5th cluster. So I'm going to go back down here, I'm going to wrap my yarn, go back down here into the same space. I'm going to grab my yarn and pull up a loop, grab my yarn again and pull through 2. I'm going to hold it with 2 loops on my hook. I'm going to wrap my yarn again. I'm going to go back down here into that same space, pulling up a loop. I'm going to pull through 2, and I'm going to hold it. I'm going to wrap my yarn and pull through 3 loops, all 3 of them. And now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the double crochet clusters. So I'm good. You can go ahead and spread those back out if need be, if you had to push them over like I did to get them out of your way. So now I'm going to move on with a chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to be skipping over here to the double crochets, 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets. And I'm going to go right there in the center into that chain 2. And I'm going to do 2 double crochets. And then I'm going to chain 2 and do 2 more double crochets right there into that same exact space. Chain 2, come back down the same space, do a double crochet, and go back down the same space and do a double crochet. So you're going to continue to work exactly in the same manner. It does not change no matter what side you're on. You're going to work in the exact same way all the way down until you meet back up with me when you come back around to the corner where you started, and then we will go ahead and attach, and I'll show you how to move forward from there. All right, so you have worked all the way around and you've come back up and you're meeting up with your corner now. So what we've got right here is I have 1 more space to work into, doing my 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets. So we're going to work this together so I can show you how you join up to this corner and then begin the 3rd row of this border. So we're going to go ahead, we've got a chain 3 on our hook. And we're going to go ahead and work into this space right here. It's our last space to work into. We're going to do 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets, just like we've been doing. Chain 2, and then come back into that same exact space and do 2 double crochets. Now we're going to chain 3, just like we've been doing the entire way around on this border. So 1, 2, and 3. And you're going to come over here. You've met up with your first corner that you worked. These are our double crochet cluster chain 3 section, and it's right here in the corner. Take a look. You can see exactly what I mean. We're a corner spot right now. All right, so we're going to go ahead and slip stitch to the top of this double crochet cluster. So if you look right here at the very tippy top of it, you're going to see a stitch right here. And we want to get in somewhere in there. And if I pull it apart, hopefully you guys can see. So we're just going to we're going to insert our hook, grab our yarn, and we're going to do a slip stitch over to the hook or the loop that's on our hook. So now all we need to do is start doing our chain 3s, single crochets working into this section. So we're going to go ahead and start that by slip stitching over here into the first chain 3 space. And now we're going to chain 1 and we're going to go back down into that space and we're going to do a single crochet. Just like that. Now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to come over here into the next chain 3 space and we're going to do a single crochet. You're going to be working all of these double crochet cluster sections exactly the same way. So I've chained 3 again. I'm going to go over there into that chain 3 space and do a single crochet. Now I'm going to chain 3 again, 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to come over here. I'm now at the last one of my little clusters. And I'm going to do a single crochet right there in between on the chain 3. So now I'm going to chain 3 again, 1, 2, and 3. And you can see here that we're back at the double crochets, the 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet. You are going to do the same thing again into each one of those. So you're going to work 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets all right there into the chain 2 space. So we're just going to keep continuing those on up. So we're now at our 3rd row of those. So we're going to work those and then we're going to chain 3 and do the same thing that we just did in that corner. We're going to be at another one of the cluster sections. So we've chained 3 and we're just going to we're going to skip over these chains right here and we're going to come right here into the chain 3 and we're going to do a single crochet. Now we're going to chain 3 again. And we're going to skip over here to the next chain 3 space and do a single crochet. Just like so. We're going to chain 3 again. And we're going to come over here to the next chain 3 and we're going to do a single crochet. We're going to chain 3 again, 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to come right here into the next. This is going to be our last one in this section. We're going to come in here and do a single crochet. So if you stop and take a look at your work, you end up with 3 chain 3s and all of your little V stitches right here. It's like a V stitch to me. All of those are going to be exactly the same regardless of where you're at. You're going to work exactly the same all the way around, corners and all. So you're going to continue to work in the same exact manner, chaining 3 in between and then moving over into your 2 double crochet chain 2 spot. And you're going to do the same thing again in those sections, chain 2 and then put 2 more double crochets right there into that same chain 2. And then to separate that, you're just going to be doing a chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you'll be jumping over to your cluster sections right here. And you're going to do a single crochet, chain 3, single crochet into each and every one of those until you've got 3 chain 3 loops. So you're going to continue exactly in the same manner all the way around. This is a super easy border, which is why I picked it. Really easy to remember, and you can visually just look at it and see where you are and know what you need to do. The whole purpose of the border is just to finish out the project. You do not have to use this border, but if you like it, you are more than welcome to do so. And you're just going to continue on in the same exact manner until we meet back up around here where we began, and I will show you how to slip stitch and begin going into the next row 4 of this border. So we are almost done. All right, so now we've worked our way on around and you have a chain 3 on your hook and you're back at your first corner that you began. So you're going to need to slip stitch over here and then begin row 4 of your border. So you've got a chain 3 on your hook right now. And if you look right here where we did that single crochet, we slip stitched over and we did a single crochet, you're going to just be inserting your hook into that single crochet and doing another slip stitch. So we're going to grab our yarn and pull through, and then we're going to go ahead and pull through the loop that's on our hook. And now we're just going to slip stitch over into that chain 3 space. So we're going to go right there into that, and this is going to begin your row 4 of your border. So you're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and you are going to work a chain 3 single crochet into each of those chain 3 spaces from the previous row. So you're going to end up with 2 chain 3 spaces on this row worked in each and every one of these little pineapple fan sections. So I have chain 3, and I'm going to go back down into that chain, the next chain 3 space. I'm going to go into that, and I'm going to do a single crochet, just like so. And now I'm going to be doing a chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you're going to do that each time to separate from your chain, from these chain 3 spaces that you're creating right here. You're going to end up with 2 of those on the top of each pineapple. And then you're going to be coming over here to our 2 double crochet chain 2s, 2 double crochet section, and we're going to chain 4 to get over there. And then we're going to work 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets into each and every one of those. So there's nothing going to change about that, just like we've been doing on our previous rows. We're going to chain 2. We're going to go back into that same space and do 2 more double crochets. So you're working 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochets into each of those same little V's that we've created on our previous row. After we finish that, we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4 each and every time. That's going to bring us over to another one of the little pineapples, and we're going to chain 4. We're going to go into the first chain 3 space of that pineapple. So we're going to skip over this chain work right here, and we're coming into these. So if you take a look at your work, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And we're going to do a single crochet. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and we're going to go into the very next chain 3 space. So we're right over those double crochet clusters, and we're going to do a single crochet, and we're going to repeat that twice. You know, when we get here, we're going to end up with 2 of these loops is what I'm trying to say. So I've chain 3 again. I'm going to work right here into the very next chain 3 space and do a single crochet. So now I've completed that section. So now I'm going to chain 4 and move over here to these 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet sections. So we're going to go ahead and chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you're going to do this exact same thing all the way around your project. And then you're going to meet back up with me when you get back to the corner where you began. And I'm going to show you how to join up and move on to the 5th and final row of this border. So like I said in the very beginning of this section of the video, it's an extremely easy border, and it's easy to remember what you're to do all the way around. So meet back up with me when you've done this all the way around your entire project. I'm going to go ahead and chain 4 again and keep moving on. You can pause the video and meet back up with me when you're ready to join up and move on to row 5. All right, so you've met back up with me. You're back around at the corner where you began, and we're going to go ahead and do a chain 4 is going to be on your hook. And we're going to just go right here into the slip stitch that we did previously, and we're going to do another slip stitch to join in there. If you prefer, you can do just a single crochet there. And then we're going to slip stitch on over into this chain 3 space right here. So we're in the chain 3s again, and we're going to slip stitch over, and then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. This is the beginning of your last row. And you're going to go ahead and go over here into the next chain 3 space and do a single crochet. So if you take a look at your work at this point, you have finished out your pineapples when you're doing this row. So now we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we're going to move on over here to these chain or 2 double crochet chain 2 sections. So we're going to move into this chain 2, and we're going to do some double crochet clusters. We're going to do a total of 5 of those into this section. So we're right here. I've just done part of the double crochet cluster. So let's back up because it's been a while since you did it. So I've got my chain 4 on my hook. I'm going to wrap my yarn. I'm going to go into this chain 2 spot, and I'm going to pull up a loop. I'm going to pull through 2, and I'm going to hold it. I'm going to go back down into the same exact spot into that chain 2, pulling up a loop. I'm going to pull through 2 and I'm going to hold it. I've got 3 loops on my hook, so I'm going to grab my yarn, pull through all 3 loops. Now I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and I'm going to come back down into the same chain 2 space, and I'm going to repeat that a total of, we're going to have 5 of these in there, so I'm going to repeat it 4 more times, and I'm going to do the same thing, the double crochet cluster, and I'm going to grab my yarn, pull through all 3 loops when you get 3 on your hook. I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to go back down in that chain 2 and do the same thing. I'm going to pull up a loop. I'm going to pull through 2. I'm going to hold it. I'm going to wrap my yarn again, go into that same space, pulling up a loop. I'm going to pull through 2 and I'm going to hold it. I've got 3 loops on my hook, so I'm going to go ahead and complete it. Now I'm going to chain 3 again, 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to go back down into the same exact space. I'm going to pull up a loop. I'm going to pull through 2 and I'm going to hold it. I'm going to wrap my yarn again. I'm going to go back down in that same space, pulling up a loop. I'm going to pull through 2 and I'm going to hold it. With 3 loops on my hook, I'm going to grab my yarn and pull through all 3 loops. So you start having a space that looks like that. Now I'm going to do it one more time. Chain 3, go back down in that same exact space, pulling up a loop. I'm going to pull through 2 and I'm going to hold it. I'm going to wrap my yarn again, go into that same space, pulling up a loop. I'm going to pull through 2 and I'm going to hold it with 3 loops on my hook. Wrap my yarn, pull through all 3 loops. Just like so. So now I'm going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm going to come back over here. Now I'm at another pineapple. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to skip over this chain. And I'm going to go here to the pineapple section. I'm going to go into these 2 chain 3 loops. I'm going to go right here into the first one and I'm going to do a single crochet. Now I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to go back down here into this section and I'm going to do another, right here in this next chain 3 space, I'm going to do another single crochet. Now I'm going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now I'm back over here to where I've been doing these 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet. And I'm going to go into this chain 2 space. So I've got my yarn wrapped. I'm going to start doing my double crochet cluster. So I've got it wrapped. I'm going to pull up a loop. I'm going to pull through 2 and I'm going to hold it. I'm going to go back into this space, pulling up a loop. I'm going to pull through 2 and I'm going to hold it. I've got 3 loops on my hook, so I'm going to pull through all 3 loops. And I'm going to continue on with that, chain 3. And I'm going to keep working that all the way until I have done the same thing that I did over here. I'm going to do that again. And if you want to have it a little bit smaller, you can do a total of 4 of these in here. This is where you can kind of use your creative license a bit, but you can continue to work this in the same exact manner. We're going to go ahead and do it one more time together. So I've got my chain 3 right here. I'm going to go back into that same space. And I'm going to do another double crochet cluster by pulling up a loop. Let me get back down into camera view. I'm going to pull through 2 and I'm going to hold it. I'm going to wrap my yarn again, go back down here into the same exact space, pulling up a loop, pull through 2. I'm going to hold it. I've got 3 loops on my hook, so I'm going to go ahead and grab my yarn and pull through all 3 loops. Now I'm going to chain 3. And I'm going to go back down into that space, pulling up a loop, pull through 2. I'm going to hold it. So I'm doing these double crochet clusters in the same way, just like I did previously when we were back down here on our second row. We're going to do the same thing. We're just moving them up to this section. And I'm going to chain 3 again, 1, 2, and 3. And this is what you're going to do all the way around. So you're going to alternate between those 2 things where you're doing the pineapples and finishing out with and you're going to end up with 1 chain 3 at the end of that pineapple. And then you're doing these little cluster sections. And it's the same thing all the way around, working in the same manner. You're handling the corner exactly the same way. It's just a continuation of this exact row. So there's nothing crazy about it. The hardest part is just setting it all up in the very beginning. So you're going to continue on just like that. And like I said, I'm doing it with 5 of these clusters. You could do 4. That would work out as well. You separate with a chain 4 on this row in between each of the things that you're doing. So I'm going to chain 4 again. Now I'm over here at my pineapple again. So there's 2 chain 3 loops here. I'm going to skip over all of this and I'm going right here into this chain 3 loop and I'm going to do a single crochet. And then I'm going to end out that pineapple with doing a chain 3 and coming over here into the other chain 3 loop and doing a single crochet. And then I chain 4 and move on to the cluster section again. So if you continue to work in the same way all the way around, you're going to end up with your pineapples and your little flowers right here all the way around. So just continue on. You can rewind the video if you need more help, but you're just going to slip stitch to finish out just like you've been doing on all your corners. You're just going to slip stitch and bind off this row. So this is the last time around, and I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please leave me a comment below. Please make sure you give the video a thumbs up. It helps me greatly to see the thumbs up in the comments. I appreciate you watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day and enjoy making the border on your beautiful butterfly shawl. Thanks for watching. Bye.